What it was, cuz your boy Clinton K. Williams coming at you with another broadcast of Let's Talk Numbers. Ladies and gentlemen, I know I'm dropping 3 this week. It's my second one. I'm dropping the Super Bowl one with Super Bowl predictions on Friday. Get ready for that. But in Let's Talk Numbers, we like to talk about statistics in sports. Today, our main topic is going to be something I always talk about and something I can't get enough of. 1990s NBA basketball versus modern day 2010s NBA basketball. Who will win? The iconic 1992 Olympic Dream Team or the iconic 2012 Olympic men's basketball team? If you ask me this question, I'm going to tell you that the 2010s would win 10 out of 10 times by a large victory. The 1990s were not even in the same spectrum, not even in the same tier as the 2010s today. The 1990s are so far behind from the 2010s that I don't find the joke funny. And as much as I love to talk about this, I feel like it is sad that I have to talk about this so much, try to change you guys' minds. And I love sports, and I love to talk about sports. So nothing makes me happier than to change the mind of another sports viewer about one thing or another. First of all, let me tell you exactly why the 2010s are better, and the only argument I need. This is an argument I talk about a lot in all sports. One of the most necessary thing you need in sports nowadays: versatility. It's not just basketball when versatility comes in handy. Versatility. It is huge in today's sports. Even think about it in football. Quarterbacks nowadays, most of them are scrambling quarterbacks. The only ones who really are primary throwing quarterbacks, pocket passers, rollout passers, are the older ones that started playing in the early 2000s, the 1990s, the mid 2000s. Anybody who started playing in the late 2000s or the 2010s, they're pretty much scrambling quarterbacks. The Russell Wilsons, the Cam Newtons, players who started playing in the mid 2000s, like Michael Vick and Vince Young, they're the ones who really started this whole idea of a scrambling quarterback. But that's not the point. The point is that versatility is bigger in sports today than it was back then. So let's talk about the 1990s versus 2010s basketball. Versatility. Number one thing about versatility is that big men, they're not just in the post anymore like they used to be. They can shoot and dribble now. And the man who paved that way was in the 1990s. He goes by the name Hakeem Olajuwon. Hakeem Olajuwon was one of the first big men to put the ball on the ground behind the free throw line and propel his body in scoring the basket. Hakeem Olajuwon was the first person to add finesse and find sway to his post moves. Before Hakeem Olajuwon, we did not see this. We saw the point guard brings up the ball, passes it down in the post to his bodies his defender, puts up the ball off the glass, in for 2 points. And if you don't think that's the case, I'm going to give you 7 seconds to think about a big in the 1990s or previous to that who could not only post, but he could also shoot and he could also dribble the ball. Now, I'm sure if you thought of any, you thought of one to none, because you probably didn't even think of one. Let's be real. There is not a single big who could dribble, shoot, and be dominant in the post in the 1990s. Today we have people like DeMarcus Cousins, who could shoot, dribble. He's dominant in the post. Not so much Kevin Love anymore, but when he was in Minnesota, yes. Anthony Davis, who could dribble like no other. He's pretty much a point guard in a big man's body. LaMarcus Aldridge. Guards are quicker. Let's be honest. Guards are quicker. When you're watching 1990s film, what guard can you see that bullets across that court like you see Derrick Rose doing it nowadays, Russell Westbrook, John Wall, Damian Lillard? The point guard position was to find the smartest way with the least amount of difficulty as possible to get the ball to his big man so he can score. Basketball was run through your bigs back then. Why do you think if you sit down on your bed and think about the bed was random, but why do you think if you sit down and think about the best players of the 1990s and the 1980s, 70s, even the 60s, just previous to modern day, 65% of those guys were bigs. And if you think about the best players now, 65% of those guys are guards. The roles kind of switched. Basketball was run through your bigs back then. Isaiah Thomas, one of the best point guards in the 80s. Okay, let me not use Isaiah Thomas because we're talking about the 90s. Isaiah Thomas played in the 80s. Okay, John Stockton, one of your best point guards in the 90s. Not even a fraction of the speed any of those guys I just named. Rose, Westbrook, Wall, Lillard. Who's another dominant point guard? Gary Payton. Known for his defensive skills. Not even a fraction of the speed that point guards have today. Now let's move on to ball handling. Ball handling is the art of basketball nowadays. This is a new spectrum of basketball that wasn't there before. If it was more about ball protection than handling. Now there's a difference. Ball protection is your ability to protect the ball and prevent it from being stolen or intercepted. Picked or intercepted. Ball handling is your ability to protect the ball, and not only protect the ball, get past your defender using a skill set full of moves. That's by definition. Guards do more than just dribble and pass. They shoot, they drive, they set screens, they do everything. Basketball nowadays is everybody helping everyone. Back in the 1990s, you're not going to see Ron Harper setting a screen for Dennis Rodman so he can have an backdoor pass and then dish it back out to Michael Jordan at the top of the key or at the corner. No, that's a play that we're going to see being run today. Yeah, Ron Harper setting a screen for Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman gets the backdoor pass, dishes it right back out to Michael Jordan. That's a play that you'll commonly see today. In the 90s, it was more like Michael Jordan brings up the ball. He makes the decision whether he wants to pass it inside to Luke Longley, Dennis Rodman, or take the shot. And if Scottie Pippen is open, Scottie Pippen gets that pass. I'm not just bullshitting this. I watch so much 90s basketball, full games, that I pretty much know exactly what I am talking about. Another thing about today's game is that it's more of a mobile game. The post isn't as important. The post is the most stable way of playing basketball. You pass it inside the post. Okay, now, of course, this is when you do your off-ball routine, your off-ball running around. They did that a lot more in the 90s than they do today. But that's just primarily for the person who passed it inside. Everybody else kind of just stands there and watches. I've noticed that when I watch 90s ball. The average player is taller today. Factual. The average player is 6'8" in today's NBA. And in the 1990s, the average player was 6'4.5". And once again, I can't stress the fact that everyone does everything. The 90s, each position had an assigned job. It is more versatile today. Point guards aren't just here to shoot. Point guards aren't just here to dribble and pass, create plays. Shooting guards aren't just here to shoot. Small forwards aren't just here to shoot and be in the post. Power forwards aren't just here to defend the ball and be in the post. Centers aren't just here to grab rebounds. Okay, the center position is kind of still the same thing. They grab rebounds nowadays. But yeah. And this is one of my favorites. Foreign players. Foreign players. There are more foreign players in the NBA today than there were in the 1990s. Factual statistics right here. In the 1990s, 11% of the league was foreign players. And three of those players have gone down in NBA history. 2 Hall of Famers and 1 3-time champion. That's, of course, Hakeem Olajuwon and Dikembe Mutombo as the Hall of Famers, and Tony Kukoc as the 3-time champion. Those are the only foreign players that played in the 90s that went down in history, that will go down in history. Today, the amount of foreign players that will go down in history, and okay, you're probably thinking in your head, okay, what do foreign players have to do with it? It means that if people are playing basketball in other countries, the sport of basketball is growing, meaning making it into the professional level is harder and takes more skill to do so, meaning you practice at a younger age. So therefore, by the time you're 18, you're going to be better than those who were 18 in the 1990s and in the 1980s that played professional basketball in the 1990s. The sport grows. It's more competitive now. We have dudes coming out of China. Look at Hoop Mixtape. There are dudes in China right now coming here in their high school years so they can get into a good college, all pursuing that one goal, the NBA. Here's my last one, another one. The rookies do not come in the game today and dominate like they used to. The league is just too complex to just come out of college and destroy. No way a rookie is going to come out of college and average 20-something points and win a championship like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird did right away. Like Michael Jordan averaging 20-something points. That doesn't happen today. The league is just too good for that. Look at the little facts. Honestly, Michael Jordan is the only player in today's that could play in today's game. But because he didn't have to deal with what I just explained, he seemed amazing. He didn't have to deal with any of the versatility. He didn't have to deal with any of the complicity. If MJ played in a complex and versatile league as today, he'll be equivalent to your average sixth man. Really, stop being biased and think about it logically. Basketball is just not as easy as it used to be. Ask yourself, why do guys not drop 100 points? Dish out 30 assists anymore, shoot at 75% like they used to. It's just too complex nowadays. Now here's something that I really wrote out to pay attention to. Versatility versus specialized position. Versatility means everybody doing everything. Specialized position means you're the point guard, you have this job. You're the center, you have this job, blah, 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 and so on. Okay, imagine a player who is specialized at his position like John Stockton. Okay, yeah, throw in Russell Westbrook in there, who is versatile, who does everything. Yeah, let's watch the result of that. Imagine David Robinson, the ideal big man. Make him guard Anthony Davis at the perimeter, or Kevin Love. Oh, I'd love to see that one. Larry Bird, he's the ideal small forward, right? Isn't he? Okay. Let's see how ideal he is when you toss in King James to match him up. Here's something. Notice how all the past first guards today have faded away or have had rough patches. I'm sorry, tongue-tied. They faded away or have had rough patches because the league is moving on into versatility and greater things, and they are still stuck in the 90s style of play. Where's Rondo? He's not around. Yeah, we don't hear his name. Where's Steve? Before Steve Nash retired, you can make the excuse that he was old. But he really started slipping. Chris Paul started slipping since he played on the Clippers, I'm sorry. Think about the bigs that used to dominate. Like Dwight Howard. He's just good in the post. He's an ideal 90s big. He's good in the post, amazing at defense and grabbing rebounds. But all the bigs now are shooting and dribbling. He can't take that anymore. He can't defend that. He can't match up against that. It's tough. It really is tough. It's tough to hear that the guys that you grew up loving are not as good as you think they are. Unfortunately, it's my job as a sports reporter to break it down for you guys, and that is exactly what I did today. Thank you so much once again for tuning into my broadcast. Let's talk numbers. We out here.